Good evening, everyone. How are you? Happy Friday once again. Cheers. Oh dear, that may not be the last beer I drink tonight. It's been a warm one in Redcar, I've got to tell you. I'm not built for this kind of warm weather. It doesn't agree with me. I'm a big fat bald-headed northern lad. Just give me a bit of overcast drizzle any day. I'm comfortable with that. This is nice, for a little while, but dear me, it gets oppressive after a while. But such is life. Let's see who we've got in. Oh, I see straight away there. We've got Mike from China Guitars. Skeptic, how are you, Mike? Anton, Derek Clacton, Johnny Random, Vincent Brennan, David Evans, S. Wayne, Scott, Ian Clark, Deco Dude. It's like I'm taking the register, isn't it, every week when I'd start doing this? Yes. When your name is called, shout present. Robster Boy, how are you, Robert? Nice to see you in. Dave Lewis, Patrick Becker. Yes, Colin Falcon. Warm is an understatement, says Colin. Hit 33.5 degrees centigrade in my flat last night. Yeah, it was a little bit clammy, it has to be said. It was a bit warm, let's say. Anyway, I think we've established that it's summer, which it's Friday, and I'm a bit confused about that because I thought in Redcar summer was on a Wednesday this year, but there you go. Anyway, in case I look a little bit more crisp and in focus this evening, it's because, as you might have gathered, I've got a new pair of glasses, so that's making all the difference. No, I've got a new webcam. I'm using it actually now to start making my YouTube videos with, because I can mount it on a tripod, and I think it's a noticeable improvement in picture quality. So it means I'm no longer having to rely upon this sad little camcorder that I've been using for the past couple of years. You can see it's held together with an elastic band. Works fine. It's just that the catch on the battery compartment is absolutely goosed, and you've got to kind of keep the battery in somehow or other, and that's been sufficing for a while. But this new webcam seems to be a bit of an improvement. Let me know what you think. Yes, I see you're all answering the register now, aren't you? Yes, evening, Peter. How are you? Where are we? Very Dame Edna. Yes, they are. These are from my local branch of Wilco's, and the strangest thing, I got a pair of prescription glasses, because I had that middle-aged thing of having to hold a book like that in order to read it, and I thought, yeah, I'll get myself some reading glasses. So I did, and they were fine, and I thought, I'm relying on these a lot now. I'll go and get my eyes tested and get a prescription pair of glasses. Well, I won't name the opticians, but it's a very famous opticians, the kind of place where you should have gone to, apparently, if you know the advert. And I got a pair of prescription glasses from them after them testing my eyes and what have you, and the damn things were giving me ridiculous headaches. So I just went back to me cheap pound shop reading glasses, and every year or so I just buy a new pair when the old ones get scratched and what have you, and seem to be getting on rather fine for them. Your arms got too short, did they, as well, Mike? Indeed. Anyway, yeah, Spud Savers, that's the one, mate. Let me tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. On Sunday, I'm demoing this this rather lovely Electro Harmonics C9 organ machine pedal. Basically makes your guitar sound like an electric organ. Very, very generously given to me by William Campbell. Thank you once again, William. You are an absolute gentleman and a scholar. And we're going to hear what that sounds like on Sunday. Then Monday's solo analysis video is going to be, well, it's a band that I'd entirely forgotten about. I was very, very much into them in the early 90s. And then, you know how a band that you're into just suddenly disappears and you get into other bands and you kind of lose track and you forget, basically. Well, that's the case with TerraVision. I was a massive fan of them in the early 90s. And I started including them on the Patreon podcasts a few months ago. And I just thought it'd be a good idea to do one of their solos. So on Monday, we're doing the solo from one of their big songs, a tune called Alice, What's the Matter? Then on Tuesday, I'm going to be picking, as is usual for a Tuesday, my top 5 in a particular category. And this week, or this coming week, it's going to be my top 5 Whitesnake performances. And just a bit of a spoiler alert, this is all from the proper Whitesnake era. The first 5 albums, basically, before they went all kind of Max Factor and Poodle Perm and all of that kind of nonsense, before they became essentially just another glam metal band. But the early band, Mickey Moody, Bernie Marsden, that sort of era, absolutely love all that stuff. So I'm picking my top 5 of those on Tuesday. Wednesday's video. What's Wednesday? Oh yes, how to play with a metronome. That's what we're looking at on Wednesday's theory video. And then on Thursday, I've just finished putting Thursday's video together today, and it's a bit of a long one. You might want to make yourself a cuppa before you watch Thursday's video. We're looking at this guitar. This rather lovely looking beast. This is Harley Benton SC552. It's the updated one, and this guitar is a bit good. Let's just say that. You'll find out exactly how good and what makes it good on Thursday. So that's what's happening on Thursday. Friday, of course, we're back on the beer, and another week has passed us by. You saw TerraVision at the marquee, did you, Mike? Dear me, I never saw them live, but, you know, they're from Doncaster, weren't they? Fantastic, just gritty, almost like a cross between the Sex Pistols and Bad Company is one way you could describe them. You know, bit punky attitude, but good foot stomping classic rock to go with it. So, anyway, cheers, everyone. Yeah, you used to be into TerraVision, didn't you, Craig? I remember when you used to have lessons off me back then. I think you possibly might have been one of the people who introduced me to them, because I was getting like a lot of people bringing their CDs into the lessons back then. I went to a studio in Bradford years ago to check it out. Just so happened TerraVision were recording Alice. Engineer played us the demo of the studio. Okay, well, that's interesting. Nice little brush with fame there, David. Just trying to think if I have any. I once had a beer with Albert Lee. That's a story I dine out on quite regularly. It was at I think the Manchester Guitarist show in about 1990, and he was demoing the Music Man Silhouette, as it was then, and he was in the bar later, and I got his autograph and had a pint with him. Great bloke. Oh, thank you for wishing my missus a speedy recovery there, mate. Yes, she's getting out and about this week. She's been up and down the street a few times, walking with her sticks and everything. She refuses to use the Zimmer frame that the hospital gave her. You know, it's currently taking up residence in the backyard. That is not getting used. I think she'd just rather not be able to walk than have to use a Zimmer frame. You know, it's a little bit, you know, too much of it. There's too much baggage with one of those things, I think. Good evening, Dan from Scott Guitars. How are you, mate? I missed you. I missed you entering the chat. Hope things are going well. What does everyone think of Government Mule, Warren Haynes, etc.? Brilliant is the short answer from me. I've got a couple of Government Mule albums. I haven't listened to them in ages, actually. I must put that right. As I often say, what I do first thing on a morning is get up at a ridiculous hour. It's not much after 5 a.m. when I get up on a morning, whether I've had beer the night before or not. And the first thing I do is just sit with a big steaming mug of coffee and listen to an album from beginning to end and just ease myself into the great way to kick off the day. Much better than putting the news on. I mean, that's a way to depress you before you've even woken up, isn't it? But just stick your favourite album on first thing on the morning. It's a great way of setting yourself up for the day. And yeah, I shall be doing that with some Government Mule this coming week, I imagine. What's that, Aussie? I just got a Spark mini booster before or after the rock stage. I'm not following you, mate. I must admit that one's gone a bit over my head. My brush with fame was I told the singer of the Levellers he was a wanker because he was. Yes, they do get everywhere, don't they? You know, it's artistic or musical talent is no guarantee of you know, someone being a nice chap. And you know, well, look at me, for example. Anyway, thanks, Dan. Yes, as I say, she's doing really good. Thank you. Your view on clon type overdrives, e.g. Soul Food versus Tube Screamer type overdrives, particularly for tellies and strats. I've never played through anything that knowingly was a clon or clone, if you like. It's a pedal that sort of bypassed me, the clon, when it came out, because it was very much a 90s phenomenon, wasn't it? And by then I'd already settled on the fact that, well, by 1993 I wasn't using any kind of overdrive pedals, because I had at that time I had a Marshall 3-channel 30th anniversary combo with, you know, as much gain as you could ever possibly need on tap. But before that, I was, you know, I'd used Tube Screamers and, you know, Boss, various types of overdrive pedal, and you know, drive pedals from Boss. So by the time the clon came along, I wasn't really in the market for that kind of device, so it sort of bypassed me, really. I mean, I've heard people playing through them, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's a nice sound. But is it a sound that's worth paying thousands and thousands of pounds for an original clon, or, you know, kind of, you know, even hundreds of pounds for one of the knockoffs or clones or copies or whatever you want to call them? I don't begrudge people being able to charge that kind of money for it, because it's supply and demand, and if there's people out there willing to pay that, then good luck to them. You know, it's just not something I really have an informed opinion on, or any interest in, if I'm brutally honest. You know, I think of all of my favourite albums, or many of my favourite albums. The one I listened to, for instance, this morning was Black Rose by Thin Lizzy. There wasn't a clon anywhere in sight on that album. I suspect it was just, there might have been a Tube Screamer involved. When was it? 79? The Black Rose album, possibly. My timeline might maybe out a little bit there, but, you know, point I'm making is that most of my favourite music comes from an era before such things existed, so it didn't really have a big impact on me. Found out earlier today that Toman hasn't been hit by those awful floods in Germany. Well, that's good news. By the way, the video I did yesterday about, you got 200 quid to spend, what are you going to buy? And, there's at least one of the items on there was the Harley Benton TE90 guitar. And there was a few people in the comments in that video were saying, oh yeah, but don't forget to add on all of the hidden extras that you're going to pay now you're ordering from Toman. That's all been sorted. I thought we'd kind of established that a couple of weeks ago. I just bought this guitar. Let me show you it again. I bought this. I ordered it last Thursday and it turned up on Tuesday. The price I saw on the website was the price I paid. So, there's all of that sort of stuff about, import duties and VAT and all that sort of stuff. That's all sorted. That's all taken care of. If I were to upgrade the pickups on my Harley Benton ST62, which brand would you recommend? Budget isn't an issue. Right. The Roswell pickups on the ST62 aren't bad. Depends what you're looking for, really. I would say the Vanson Strat pickups, but the Roswell Strat pickups are pretty good anyway. Or Strat style pickups are pretty good anyway. I'm not sure that might be a tiny bit of an upgrade, but Iron Gear do some nice Strat pickups. I can't remember the designation or model number, but have a look on Axis R Us for some of their pickups. They do some really nice pickups that aren't going to break the bank. You could go with one of the tried and tested and trusted big names in the industry. Seymour Duncan pickups. They're not cheap, but, have you ever heard a bad review of Seymour Duncan pickups? I haven't. Every guitar I've played that's had Seymours in has sounded really, very good indeed. I used to have a Telecaster that had a set of Seymour Duncan quarter pounders in it, which were a great Strat pickup, kind of very... almost like sort of Texas Special, kind of that big brassy kind of Texas blues kind of thing. And there you go again, Texas Specials, from Fender, great pickups. It depends what sort of sound you want. Are you wanting something that's going to turn it into, a sweet, vintage kind of sounding Strat, or do you want something a bit more kind of raucous and ballsy, like Rory Gallagher, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Richie Blackmore kind of sound? Depends what you want, and there are plenty of options out there. I would definitely check out Iron Gear though. They're well worth looking at. John, there's a great Facebook page called Northeast Bands 1970 to 1989. Well worth a look. Some flashes from the past on that. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not on Facebook. I used to be on Facebook, and then it's a long story. It's what is it to say on Facebook? It's complicated. But the missus is still on, so I might get her to have a look at it and show me. My wife thinks I moved to Germany for it. It was actually just for the free postage from Toman. What's that, Mike? £8 shipping from Toman. I didn't pay any shipping at all. It's still free over a certain value, and I think that guitar tipped over whatever that free shipping value is. Roswell humbuckers seem kind of fizzy to me. Anyone else feel the same? Yeah, I'll second that. I had not long after they stopped putting Wilkinson pickups in. I got a loan of I think it was a CST 24, The review's still up on my channel. I got a loan of a CST24 that had Roswell pickups in, and they did seem a bit fizzy. But then again, I've had a couple of, just the one actually. Sorry, my brain is going to mush here. The Harley Benton HB35 Plus, the semi-acoustic, that had Roswell humbuckers in, and that just didn't sound fizzy at all. It was warm and vintagey and buttery sounding. It was exactly what you want. Whether they were the same Roswell pickups, I don't know. I couldn't tell you offhand. But yeah, in some guitars, they certainly can have that sort of a brittleness to the top end. I sometimes find. Where are we? Let's just scroll back up the chat, see what I've missed. Being made to say clone seems to have potential as a sobriety test to me. Yes, there's the other one, isn't it? I'm not a pheasant plucker. I'm a pheasant plucker's mate. I'm only plucking pheasants because the pheasant plucker's late. Yes, I won't be trying that one after a few more of these. Where are we? Oh, it's £8 under 150, is it, for the shipping from Toman? Well, that's still not bad. I mean, I still think that's, very reasonable because, as you know, when I was doing the Guitars for Good Causes thing, which, some news on that I'm going to talk about in a moment. Basically, I was ordering guitars from Toman with money that had been donated to a GoFundMe, and then I would review the guitars, set them up, make a video, make a little bit of money off the video, and then sell the guitars for a profit usually, and then that money would go to Zoe's place. So I know all about shipping guitars, all over the place, and some of the prices that you contact any of the like Parcel Force or DPD or UPS or any of the big shipping companies, and it can be like 40-50 quid to send a guitar. Even just, I remember there's one chap, I sent a guitar to Ireland, and it was about 30 quid to send the guitar there. So how a company like Toman can afford to do it with for like 8 quid, from Germany to the UK, it's, I still think that's great value considering what I know. I mean, if you've ever sold anything on eBay, you know that shipping costs, can rapidly become expensive. Okay, Dan, you're just on putting some Iron Gear Blues engine pickups in a John Robson signature build. Yes, indeed, that would be interesting. Yes. Let me know how that turns out, Dan. Be interested to know what those, because I've never tried the Blues engine pickups. I'll be interested to know how they compare to the Vanson 57s. Okay, Canadian in the UK. You'll take Wilkinson pickups over Roswell any day. Yeah, I mean, the Wilkinson pickups in those vintage guitars, great sounding pickups. I had, gosh, how many of those vintage guitars did I have? A few, and they all had Wilkinson pickups in, and no complaints there. I think the reason they stopped using Wilkinson pickups for Harley Benton was because apparently there is a thriving market in counterfeit Wilkinson pickups, which I just found absolutely bizarre when I found that out. If you're going to the trouble of well, not going to, I don't want to make it sound like it's a legitimate thing to do, but if you are the kind of person who is going to, sell counterfeits of something, then let's face it, Wilkinson are great pickups, but they don't have the curb appeal of, DiMarzio or Seymour Duncan. So if you're selling a fake, why not, kind of put the the big name on it and counterfeit it as a you'll get potentially, I don't want to make this sound like I'm endorsing this. I'm not. I disavow it completely, selling counterfeit goods. But if you are counterfeiting goods, then isn't it in your own best interests to kind of try and get more money for the goods you're selling by putting a more prestigious brand name on them? Not that Wilkinson aren't great pickups. I'm not saying that. It's just that, you'd probably sell a lot more counterfeit pickups if you put Seymour Duncan on them. That's all I'm saying, which you shouldn't do, because that would be, highly immoral and a bad thing to do. But, it just surprised me that Wilkinsons were being counterfeited. Love Blues engines. Currently have the Tesla Sharks in a Les Paul Standard. Great pickups at a great price. I was so slow on the uptake there with those Tesla Sharks. I never spotted that they were basically, if you take the last 3 letters of Tesla and the first 2 letters of Sharks, it tells you, kind of what sort of tone you're going to get from it. It's essentially a knockoff of the Slash. What was it Slash uses? Alnico Pro 2s. Heard about counterfeit guitar strings? I haven't. The only horror story I've got about guitar strings is that I once saw some really cheap guitar strings on eBay. The brand was Tiger. And I'd seen the brand before, like with kind of cables and guitar stands and various accessories. So I thought, well, okay, I've heard of this brand. And I bought some of these strings. I think they were £2 a set. And they were worth about £2 a set. Well, they weren't even worth that. They were utterly horrible. They had this weird kind of thing going on where some of the strings just weren't making any amplified sound, or very, very, very quiet. And the tension was off on them all over the place. Absolutely horrendous. So if you see Tiger guitar strings and you think they look a bargain, they aren't. They are utterly horrid. Yeah, good point, Vincent. I think that the bigger pickup companies probably have more legal clout. Yeah, that's probably true. But I tend to suspect that most of these counterfeit operations are based in, let's say, in jurisdictions where, that legal clout doesn't carry a lot of weight. And we'll leave it at that, because, we're sailing a bit close to the wind if we start naming, what jurisdictions I'm talking about. Anyone tried the Bugera V5 Infiniium? 150 notes on Amazon. I haven't tried one, but I know a couple of my students have them, and it's like they cannot stop grinning every time they talk about it. So it's a pretty safe bet that it's a nice piece of kit. One of my students has the Bugera, that V5 Infiniium, and he's running the it's now a Harley Benton pedal, but it used to be a Joyo pedal, the Joyo British sound into it. And I know it's only just sort of coming down a Zoom connection. I'm not really getting a proper appraisal of the sound, but even coming down just like the Zoom call, the tone that I'm hearing from just this little teeny weeny 5-watt valve amp with a cheap little pedal in front of it is really rather good. I only use legacy strings now, John, after you recommended them, especially since they come with an extra high E and B. Yeah, I've just had some turn up today, actually. There's the package from Strings Direct. I love them. I mean, I was a dyed-in-the-wool D'Addario user for many, many years. And I used to have like a bit of a good relationship with a music shop in Middlesbrough, and I used to get them essentially at not much more than cost price. So it made it very economically viable for me to do. But then, you know, I just started thinking, well, yeah, okay, let's try some other strings, you know, just out of curiosity. And yeah, Legacy, and I've been using them ever since. They're $3.99 a set, and they're as good as Ernie Ball, D'Addario, Rotor Sound, you name it. They're a fantastic string. Oh, dearie me, there's my old pal Jem Jarvis just joined the chat. How are you, Jem? He's been beavering away all day. Bless him. He works. Well, he's a civil servant, so he's been beavering away all day in an IT related role. And I got a text off him earlier, rather irate about stuff that was going on at work, and looks like he's on the beer. Good for you, Jem. Well, let's see what else we've missed in the chat while I've been blethering away. I considered the Bugera when I bought the Harley Benton HB Tube 15 amp. Great value for money. Yeah, I keep saying this. The only amp that I've got in the room here is that little Yamaha THR5, which is a great sounding amp. I love that amp, and the versatility of it. For what it does, it's when you see me doing the solo analysis videos, and I do the solo, and it's usually I'm using something in bias amp or something like that to get the tone, guitar rig or something to get the tone on the main body of the solo. And then when I go into like the explanation of let's have a look at the chord sequence, and he's using this scale and he's using that scale, the guitar tones that you hear on that part of the video are always the Yamaha THR5. It's a great sounding amp. I just keep thinking I should really do this beautiful signature guitar that I've got a bit of justice by plugging it into a nice kind of old school valve combo. But then, in order to record that, I've got to, I've got to get another interface for the laptop that I record the guitar onto. I've got to, because I'm using the interface to on the main computer to record me vocals. I've got to get a decent mic and mic it up, and a mic stand, and I've got to learn about how to mic up an amp properly and everything. So it just does seem a bit of a faff around if I was to go that route, but sooner or later the pull will become too strong to resist, and I'll probably end up doing it. So I shall let you know. You'll notice I haven't done many amp reviews on the channel. It's basically because I don't really have the expertise or the wherewithal to do all of the kind of miking up and getting it, sounding good to record with. And then you get Glenn Fricker, on Spectre Media, who says it took him 10 years to learn how to mic up a cabinet properly. You think, okay, well, fair enough. Do I really want to start at the bottom end of that learning curve? Anyway, I've just realised we've missed an important point. What's everybody drinking tonight? The groceries this week in the Robson household came from Aldi, so hence I'm on the Saint Etienne, which is it's the Harley Benton version of Stella, basically. Let's put it that way. It's look at the can. They couldn't really make it more clear what they're kind of going for, could they? So what's everybody drinking tonight? What you're on? Take a blue guitar amp once. Sounds like a tube with a sound card in it as well. Oh, now that's a thought. That's a thought, Mr. Toonan. Yes, indeed. How are you, by the way? I didn't see you in the chat earlier. It's because I'm a massive fan of Thomas Blug. I mean, I think he's just an incredible player. And plays vintage guitars with Wilkinson pickups. So we were talking about that earlier, weren't we? McEwen's Export. Oh, dear me, that brings back some memories. Dear me, yes, McEwen's Export. There's a lot of very hazy teenage memories that I kind of almost can remember, courtesy of McEwen's Export. Carlsberg Export. Oh, dear me. Mike, China Guitar, you're on the plastic beer again, are you, mate? Well, I suppose whatever floats your boat. I often say this: I don't have a drink in the middle of the week. Midweek, so kind of Monday to Thursday, I don't touch a drop usually. Sometimes that rule can get a little bit sort of flexible. But I do enjoy a beer on a Friday, as you probably gathered. Oh, Dr. Peppers, you can't drink alcohol. That's a shame, Bam Mozzie. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. It's coffee. Um, yeah, well, I do keep forgetting that, I have a worldwide audience here, and it's not always an appropriate time to be chugging back the beer, when everybody else is watching. Galahad, dear me, Deco, dude, you've been to Aldi as well, have you? Yeah, I'm fond of the Galahad, but I just find it's a bit gassy for me, and it's how can I put this delicately? Galahad is the 4% beer that you can buy in the Aldi supermarket, and it's a perfectly pleasant, quaffable drink. It just it's a bit gassy, and I'm a middle-aged man with a middle-aged man's bladder, and it tends to hurry through me. Let's say we'll leave it at that. I bought a Bajera Vintage 55 head amp a few weeks ago and absolutely love it. What are you running that into, Dave? 4B12, 2B12? Is it what sort of volume do you crank it to as well? Because a 55-watt valve amp, that's going to rattle the windows and get the neighbours signing petitions against you, isn't it? Oh, dear me. Alka-Seltzer, says Jim Mojito. Yes, well, I get the feeling it'd be Alka-Seltzer for me in the morning, because it's beer and chili tonight in the Robson household, so that could get a little bit fragrant, shall we say. I've got a bottle of JD for when I run out of beer. Yeah, I've never been. Well, I say it's a lie. I once was a fan of Jack Daniels, but I don't know. It's just any whiskey that you have to adulterate with Coca-Cola is, why not just drink whiskey that tastes nice in the first place? Yeah, I must admit, I'm quite partial when it comes to whiskey to that, and I almost can't believe I'm praising David Beckham here, but that whiskey that he's involved with, Hague Club, I do quite like that. It's a nice drop, just a drop of water in it, and a very pleasant way to get very chilled out of an evening. No, John, it's not a time thing. Too many buds yesterday. Oh, is that why you're on the coffee, is it, mate? Good for you. Yes, well, yeah. I just tend to find we have an expression in the UK called the hair of the dog. The thing that it's like kind of what cues you is a hair of the dog that bit you, and so you just get some more beer down you the next day. It takes the hangover away immediately. Gassy beer, burp with reverb and delay, winner every time. Mrs. complains but loves it really. Yes, that's a familiar story in our house as well, it has to be said. Glenmorangie, I don't mind a Glenmorangie, Bob. Yes, indeed. I'm fond of one of those as well. Thank you, Colm. Bottle of Lambrini on the bus into the town centre. I used to work, when I was a student, I used to work in a bed and breakfast in the Lake District. I'm not kind of telling tales out of school here, because it's long since changed ownership. It was called Mandy's Hotel. and I used to work in the pot wash in the kitchen, and the owner, Mandy, as you might expect, was this chain smoking alcoholic woman. She was, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, she'd be pouring herself a half-pint tumbler of Lambrusco, and she was quite fond of being of passing it around, you know. So you'd find yourself, with a bit of a thick head from the night before, quaffing, what was essentially alcoholic cherryade. Where are we? 2 notes wall of sound, free download, is great for amp making. Steve Hoggett mentioned it in your interview. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, David. And thank you, Johnny Random. That will make its way to Zoe's place. You are a gentleman and a scholar. Cheers. Speaking of Zoe's place, I've got a glut of guitars in here at the moment, most recently thanks to a chap called Stephen Tatton, who sent me, hang on, let me grab it. This arrived today, courtesy of a very generous chap, as I say, called Stephen Tatton. He sent me his Harley Benton CST24, and I think this is in the black cherry finish. This is just a donation for Zoe's place. And, I've got an Encore here as well. An Encore E99 that is going to Zoe's place. And it's in a case at the moment in another room, but there's a cheap and cheerful Strat copy. Goes by the brand of Rock Jam. 2 or 3 people have, as I say, very generously donated guitars to Zoe's place in the past few weeks. I haven't got a chance to review them and do videos on them because I'm just absolutely snowed under with stuff at the moment. But I just want to say a massive thank you to the people who have, just unsolicited, without any kind of requests from me, just sent me guitars to donate to this rather wonderful charity. It is so touching, and just the way that you chaps always chip in a $5 or whatever on the live stream to go to Zoe's place. When I get the money coming in every month from YouTube, I do like a transfer to Zoe's place for what you chaps have donated. Obviously, YouTube take a cut of all of the super chat as well, but I put that in out of my own pocket as well. So thank you once again, everybody, for supporting this charity. They are they're not particularly close to my heart in the sense that I have any personal connection with them, but they are just the charity in this part of the world everybody likes to support. They are, they do incredible things, and they don't have the big clout of, and the media presence of like the big national charities. So I do like to show a bit of support for them. Lockdown ends on Monday. Your live stream has been such a help. I'll still be, sorry, the chat's gone too far. I'll still be watching, but have a drink on me. Well, thank you, Brad. You are, as I say, a gentleman and a scholar. Much appreciated. Thank you very much to everyone. I like that black cherry colour. Yeah, it's a nice. It's tasteful and restrained. This is one of those colours that I like on a guitar. I almost bought the Harley Benton, the SC550 in this colour. It's just got that look of an old vintage car dashboard about it, hasn't it? Like a vintage Jag or something like that. It's got that sort of classy look. I am a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to guitar finishes. I'm not a fan of, when you get these wild kind of green sunbursts and purple sunbursts and stuff like that. It always just looks a little bit too, do you know what I mean? If I say a little bit too Medallion Man for me, those kind of finishes, but something that's just a nice kind of subdued kind of thing like that. It's classy. And yeah, my handle on eBay is Guitar Johnny, but I won't be auctioning them. They're getting picked up by Chloe from Zoe's place on Sunday. She's coming round to pick them up. Thank you, everyone, once again. Thank you, Dash Shaft. Yeah, Chloe Wedmore from Zoe's place is popping round on Sunday lunchtime to pick these guitars up, and they put them up on their eBay page. I was going to say on their YouTube channel, on their eBay page, and they've got a bigger reach on eBay than I have, and they usually can, or they use them often as prizes in kind of raffles and stuff like that. So that's why the guitars now just go directly to Zoe's place. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Peter. Yeah, it's I do like a nice subdued kind of sunburst kind of thing, and even I say even no burst at all. I mean, my wonderful signature guitar. One week I'll do a live stream where I don't mention my signature guitar, but it isn't going to be this week, obviously. That has no sunbursting on it at all, and it's just a beautiful thing. I think that the wood grain on that actually stands out even nicer. Can anyone give the name of a good VU pot that goes from 0 to face melt as soon as you touch it? I don't know, really. Can anybody help S. Wainscott out there in the chat? Any suggestions? Do you have a signature guitar, John? Pray tell. Yes, I do. Yes. You've seen it in all the videos. You know I do. Oh, here we go. Yes, Flake. Thank you very much. I like the Slash Anaconda burst, but can't afford it. Yeah, well, that's just the the nature of the beast, isn't it? It's a Gibson. Flake or twirl, yes. Do guitar capacitors make a difference? Well, some people maintain they do. I'm not convinced myself. I think what makes a difference with any electrical component is tolerances. Any electrical component is built to within a certain range of values. And, the more you pay for a particular component, the tighter that tolerance will be. And, the more you can predict how it's going to behave in the circuit. Also, there will be the question of build quality on, components. I don't notice any difference between, like, for instance, the cheap alpha pots for a volume control on a guitar, and like the much lauded CTS pots in terms of sound quality. But what you do notice is that after a little while, the alpha pots are starting to sound a bit scratchy when you kind of turning the volume up and down. So you got to spray them with a bit of switch cleaner and something like that, or eventually they wear out. But the better quality components, the more expensive components, cost a little bit more and last essentially a lifetime. So that's the main kind of difference for me. It's tolerance and build quality. Flake every time. This is a working class channel. Yes, indeed. I'm going to start looking at doing some of these kind of things that Mike from China Guitar does, where he puts captions up on the screen and stuff. It'd be cool to have like just a little kind of flake caption every time I pour a beer. Let's have a look in the chat. What am I missing? Yeah, indeed, Das Shaft. Capacitor values make a big difference. Capacitor types make no difference. As I say, the only difference is tolerance. CTS all the way on a good guitar, yeah. True, alphas are okay, especially the big ones. But I like Born when they break, but they break eventually. You get what you pay for. So if replacing, I say buy better ones if it's a guitar you're keeping. Yes, indeed. You know, I mean, I've got to tell you that the one thing I do notice a difference on, and we always seem to talk about the quality of the pots or the quality of the capacitors in the electronics on a guitar. The one thing I do think makes a difference, certainly, you know, from a player's point of view, is the switch on a guitar. The what's it called? The Glary Telecaster that, you know, I bought from like the Zoe's place kind of thing. And you know, you've seen the videos on that. That's now got like that modded control plate in it. That's got an Oak Grigsby switch in it, and that thing feels like you are loading a bullet into a Lee Enfield rifle. It's got that kind of precise kind of feel. You know, it's sometimes on some selector switches it can feel a little bit like, well, you know, has it clicked into place yet or hasn't it? You know, but that just feels it's not hard to move the switch. But it's got a real kind of positive, firm feel to it. So Oak Grigsby switches are definitely worth it because, you know, they feel nice. It's part of the kind of tactile feel of playing the guitar. So they're definitely worth it, and you know, they're not massively expensive. Where are we? Oh, thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you. That would be much appreciated. A flake graphic. That would be great. Yes, indeed. I shall be... We're having a rather hurried evening meal tonight, mainly because I want to get this live stream over and done with and then jump onto China Guitars live stream later again. It was great fun being involved in it last week, and if you're stuck for something to do in half an hour or so's time, go and check out Mike's live stream. It's great fun. So I shall be, we're having, as I say, chili and microwave rice this evening, so I should hopefully make it at some point during your live stream, Mike. I always had a metal switch tip. Even that small change makes a difference to how the switch feels. Now, that's a good point. I'd never thought of that, actually. What a great idea. Vintage capacitors drift out of tolerance in unique ways, and this gives the mojo, or some of it. Yeah, that's a fair point. It's not exactly predictable, though, is it? You can't say, well, I'm going to build that guitar with you know, kind of these components, and it will sound like this. You know, it is a bit sort of, you know, a roll of the dice if you're going to go down that route. Right, where are we? Are you off, Deco? Thank you, mate. Thank you for what is China Guitars? It's China Guitar Skeptic. It's a YouTube channel run by a chap called Mike, who is a top bloke and does lots. He does basically the similar kind of stuff to what I do here. but his production values are perhaps a little bit more kind of slick than my kind of raggedy-arsed, kind of fat northern lad kind of channel. Yeah, go and check him out. Anyway, chaps, I've just noticed we're coming up to an hour here, and I've been talking about food, and that's got the old belly rumbling. So I'm going to wrap things up now, if that's okay with you lot. Thank you once again, as I say every week. I'm just looking now, 143 concurrent viewers and 36 likes. What a bunch of stars you are, turning up on a Friday night to watch a fat bald lad talk cobblers for an hour. It never ceases to amaze me that people do that, but there you go. There's no accounting for taste, is there? Once again, everyone, thank you for turning up, and I'll see you all on the next video on Sunday, or you'll see me at least anyway, and we'll all meet up again for a beer next week. And, oh yes, before I go, August the 27th, don't forget, we're having a meet-up in Redcar. If you're close enough to Redcar to make it for Friday, August the 27th, we'll be meeting up in O'Grady's pub in Redcar on Queen Street. And, we're just going to basically have a beer and kind of chat like we do here. And then it'll all be off to Bengal Spice for a curry afterwards. If you fancy turning up, if you're close enough, if you're going to turn up, ping me an email through the link in all of me YouTube video descriptions via the website, and let me know, and I'll book the table for the curry and what have you, and we can all have a fantastic time. So there you go, folks. That is the live stream for this week. Thanks once again. I'm going to go and eat chili and drink more beer now, and I'll probably catch you on the chat on China Mike's channel in half an hour or so. Bye for now, folks. Time, gentlemen, please.